In this video, I'm going to show you how to use an NES Zapper on your PlayChoice 10 arcade cabinet. Let's show you how it's done. Okay, in this video, this is going to be a tutorial for how to modify an NES Light Zapper to work with a Nintendo PlayChoice 10 arcade cabinet. This is a single monitor US PlayChoice machine, so if you have a dual screen, a countertop or a European style cabinet, it may be wired differently and may have different connections than mine, so just bear that in mind. You may have to do some research on work out how yours is wired in. But if yours is an original dedicated single screen monitor, you should have the light gun connections already on the harness, which I will show you later on, and that will all coincide with how this is wired in. So if you've got all that set, we're ready to go. I shall show you how to do it. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is you need to get yourself an NES Zapper working. So we bought this on eBay and I tested it on an original NES console to make sure it was working before I carried out this modification. You're also going to need an NES control port. Ideally, I suppose you could do this, you could cut the plug off the end of the controller or the light gun. You could cut this off and hardwire it in. But I chose to use a controller port with mine, so that's the way we're going to do this tutorial. But just bear that in mind. If you can find a scrap Nintendo console and sacrifice the control port, it will make life maybe a little easier for you. You're also going to need some of these jumper wires, and they're called DuPont jumper wires, single jumper wires. And you can get these in different colours. I just got a random selection of I think 10 or 12 wires, and I shall show you in the background. You can probably just see them there, and how I modified these to work. And this is where they came from on eBay. You can probably get them from multiple different sellers or different places, but that's where I got mine, should you wish to get the same. Okay, so basically the first thing to do is you need to take the zapper apart. So for speed, I've already got this mostly unscrewed. So you unscrew your casing, these 3 points here, these screws here, and you've got two smaller screws in the top of the gun. I have still got a screw in here because obviously it's all going to fall apart. Let me show you what you need to do next. So you unscrew the gun like so, and then you can take the top off, and this is what you're presented with. Okay, so make sure you don't lose the this plastic lens piece at the end, and you've got a weight here as well. That will fall out, but it's okay, it just rests straight back in the hole. So what we're interested in right now is this board here. So on this board, I will insert some pictures because I've already modified this, so you're going to see the aftermath, but there will be pictures added in of how this looked before. So now what you're trying to do, you lift this out, and on this board here, there goes my lens, there's a point here that says BCE. And in that location on the board, there was this little transistor here. So all you do is you unsolder this and remove it from the board. And then what you do is you solder a single jumper wire to the bottom of the PCB, and you're jumping it from this blue connection here, which is the second one in from the bottom. So your brown is your ground, and then you've got your blue, which is your hit button. So this it detects the hit on the screen. So what you're doing is you're jumpering from that point across here, past where this transistor was, to the first blob of solder to the left. So if you can just see that there's a blob of solder there. So this is where we moved the transistor from. So there's a little jumper wire to that point there. So that is the only modification you need to do to the actual gun itself for this to work. So let me put my little lens back in, like so. So that's the modification you need to make to the actual gun. Now, I have also carried out an additional modification to this zapper, and that's to stop that loud clicking sound, the functional click of the NES Zapper. Now, I'm not sure about you, but the full clicking motion of the light gun is quite distracting. And the PlayChoice originally had the revolver gun, which wouldn't have made that clicking sound. So I kind of wanted to make it a bit more authentic and less annoying. So I'm going to show you how, if you wish to do this, you don't have to do this, but if you wish to modify your zapper, you can carry out this little mod that I've done too, and the gun will still work. So what I'll do now is I'll take this apart and I'll show you how to do that. You're going to need your small slot head screwdriver for this, as well as you've got two larger Phillips screws here. So I'll just take these out and I'll show you what I've done. It's a very, very simple modification. I am actually going to glue what I've done in here in, because I want to keep this as a permanent thing. But I may well get away with not gluing it, but I think I'm going to do it anyway, just to be on the safe side. So I'm just going to unscrew this. So just keep your screws somewhere where they're not going to get lost in your carpet or whatever. Is that going to be off there now? Yeah, okay. So we take the cover away. Now, this is what we're left with. Now all I've done is I've taken one end of a jumper cable that I've cut off like this, with a little strand of cable left on, and all I've done is I've just connected a male and female together actually on this pun to make it longer. You can do with just one, but I want to be doubly sure it's not going to come out. And all I've done, you see the cable just looped around that point there. I've just got that in there. So what that does is when you press the lever back, it's stopping it going back any further and engaging this plastic lug at the top, but it's still activating the micro switch, which is what we need. But it's not making that full click where that plastic arm goes past that catch. So the gun will still work, but it won't have that annoying clicking sound. So I'm going to probably glue this in, a bit of hot glue, and glue that in at the back there, but I'll probably do that after this video. This is again an additional modification you can do if you wish. You may not want to, obviously that's entirely up to you. So for now I'm just going to screw this back on so it doesn't fall apart while we're doing the rest of the work. Okay, so gun's back together to a degree. Let's put that back. So make sure that's all back in there nicely. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to put one screw in the gun to hold it together, just so I can show you him. Okay, so that's secure enough for me for now. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is get your controller port. Now what you need to know is we are only interested, where are you? So you're interested in the top one, which is your ground, and then ignore these ones. So you come over to this side, and this top one here is your 5 volts. This one is your hit, the middle, and the bottom one is the trigger. So you don't need to worry about these three here, okay? So what I've done is I've gone straight to the back of the pins themselves and soldered to the pins. So what you need to do is you get your jumper cables. Now the wiring in the PlayChoice 10 has the same wire colours as what I've used here, and that'll make this a lot easier to follow. So on the PlayChoice wiring harness, which I'll show you shortly, you've got a green and a brown, which are your ground. This again is from the PlayChoice end, so ignore the fact there's two wires on here and there's only one pin. You basically just join these two together, twist them together and solder them to that top point there. So if you're looking at the back of this, you see it's reversed. So you've got ground at the top, the 5 volts of this next pin, the hit in the middle and trigger at the bottom. So all I've done is just soldered the corresponding coloured cable to the pin on the back. So those 3 at the back are the ones we don't need, which are these 3. We don't want them 3, just the top one and these 3 on this side. So once you've soldered those on, that will then be connected to the PlayChoice harness. So we're not having to modify the harness at all, haven't got to cut anything, haven't got to do any, any potential dodgy connections or anything like that. You keep your original wiring loom intact. All we're doing is using these jumper wires to make our connection. Now these little DuPont or however you pronounce it, single jumper wires will fit perfectly on the existing pins on the PlayChoice wiring harness. So what we'll do now is I shall move the camera over and show you. Okay, so we're at the cabinet now. This is the original harness that's on the PlayChoice, and as you can see, I've just reached in, pulled it out from inside the game, and you can recognise the colours. So this is the ground, and these are your 5 volts hit and trigger connections. So I've conveniently wired up my controller port to have matching colours, so it's really nice and easy for me to follow. Now what I am going to do is I'm actually going to put some hot glue on this connector. I won't do it right now. I didn't want to glue it until I'd done the video, so I can show you clearly what is required. But because obviously the wires are quite thin and I don't want to be putting this in and out, so I'm going to glue this and try and secure them when they're a little bit better. And then obviously we'll hide this back in the game. So all you need to do is connect up these jumper wires to the pins. So just for cleanliness sake, we'll use the same colours, or it doesn't matter, they're both connected to the same thing. So that just pushes on there like so, and they fit on there perfectly like that. So it goes in the connector nice and snug, and then you've got your 3 corresponding colours here to match up. So got your purple to your purple, the blue in the middle, and then your white, like so. So it all looks nice and neat and tidy, and it's all going to work just fine. So again, you can just cut this off if you want, but I've just left it on there for now. Makes it easier to pick it up and hold it and move it around. So as you can see, everything is in corresponding colours. Nice clean install. Again, just going to tidy up that with a bit of glue. Then all you have to do is you take your existing Zapper connection, plug it in like a normal NES controller, just like that. Now you may wish to mount this somewhere in your cabinet. You might want to maybe drill a hole or mount this connector in the actual cabinet itself, so you've got a nice easy plug it in, remove it. I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to mount this. I may just leave it loose in the back. When I want to use the light gun, I'll just reach in and connect it up like so. I'm not decided yet on how I'm going to set it up. But this is purely just to show you how this works. So what we're going to do now is I shall turn the cabinet on and power it up, and we'll show you the gun working. Okay, so we've got the cabinet on. As you can see, we've got the gun. I'm not screwed it back together yet, but if you shoot down, as you can see, it's selecting the game that you want, the mode you want, and actually I'm pressing the trigger and it isn't making that clicking sound, so that's going to be quite nice. And then shoot the screen and detects it, just like that. So that's it. As you can see, the gun is fully working. No annoying clicking sound. Works fine with the standard tinted glass. So it's a modification well done. Everything works fine. Okay, so that's how to modify an NES Zapper to work with your PlayChoice 10. I will link a blog below in the description to a blog from NES for Life, who has done an install and a different version of a PlayChoice 10. I believe it is the European version, but check out the blog, and that may help you if you have a slightly different setup to this. Hope you get on alright doing it yourself. If I can help in any way, send us a message or leave a comment and I shall try and help you if I can. But I think if you follow the instructions, you should be able to do it fairly simply. Okay, that's all. Thanks for watching. I hope it's been some help, and yeah, catch you again next time. Cheers.